Well, they call him a murderer and say he's worse than Hitler. Just some of the accusations aimed at the Iranian President Mahmoud Ahmadinejad. This by activists in New York who are opposed to his visit to the UN General Assembly. RT's Christine Frizell now looks at why America views Iran as public enemy number one.
Just about everywhere you look,
that Iran, it continues to develop nuclear weapons.
Someone, whether politician or pundit,
they're controlled by a fanatical regime,
is beating the drums of war.
How close are we to the point of no return?
Well, I think we may be past the point of no return in the sense that Iran does have inside the country everything it needs to produce a nuclear weapon.
That point of no return often exaggerated, according to journalist Seymour Hersh, whose in-depth articles, recently this one in The New Yorker, have illustrated time and time again the lack of evidence of a nuclear threat from Iran. The rhetoric, though, has resulted in widespread support for harsh actions against the country.
We support a sanctions program that's designed to stop. The punishment is it's aimed at stopping the Iranians from doing something we know they're not doing.
Sanctions called for repeatedly by the Obama administration.
So let me be clear. Iran's nuclear and ballistic missile activity poses a real threat, not just to the United States, but to Iran's neighbors and our allies.
Hersh compares President Obama's attitude toward Iran to Bush and Cheney's policy toward Iraq.
They wanted to punish, they wanted to make a case against Iraq. They didn't like the politics. So we made a case about nuclear weapons. If you remember, they were talking about mushroom clouds, make a case to go to war.
And to war, America went. Many worry it could happen as well in Iran if rhetoric becomes reality.
Iran is in a very perilous position, and it's obvious that the crosshairs are on them squarely.
If anyone wants to know how it would begin, look no further than those hoping to have their finger on the button. Here's John McCain 4 years ago.
That old Beach Boys song, Bomb Iran, you know, bomb, bomb, bomb.
And history does, in fact, repeat itself.
The greatest threat to the security of the world is a nuclear Iran.
Iran is a country that has killed more American men and women in uniform in Iraq and Afghanistan than the Iraqis and the Afghanistans have.
This is last month's GOP presidential debate in Iowa. Only one candidate strayed from the script.
Just think of how many nuclear weapons surround Iran. The Chinese are there, the Indians are there, the Pakistanis are there. Why wouldn't it be natural that they might want a weapon? Internationally, they'd be given more respect.
But one man given very little respect on U.S. soil, Iranian President Mahmoud Ahmadinejad, number one villain for so many.
He's worse than Hitler.
Last year, the group United Against Nuclear Iran put these posters up all over New York City, perpetuating the idea of a hostile Iran.
And while the rest of the economy is sinking, the military-industrial complex grows and grows and grows. In other words, war is good business.
But it may also be good business to take a closer look at the way the narrative unfolds this time around. To ask, when you hear the drums of war being beaten yet again, if it is in fact a matter of preparedness and precaution, or if it is simply propaganda. In Washington, Christine Frizell, RT.